Welcome to the Scandinavian Mind podcast, our weekly show about how technology is changing the creative industries. Today on the program, Fashion's Sustainability Insiders. We are revisiting a talk from Transformation Conference in Stockholm back in August, where we had two of the Nordics' leading sustainability experts in fashion on stage. Sandra Roos, Vice President Sustainability Kappahl, and Jessica Cederberg Wodmar, EVP Global Sustainability in CSR, GANT. In this conversation, we talked about what they are doing to prepare for the new EU legislations, their view on the extended producer responsibility, the need for new tech solutions, and so much more. My name is Konrad Olsson, Editor-in-Chief and founder of Scandinavian Mind, and I had a great time doing these talks. Both Sandra and Jessica are two of the most insightful operators in the industry with a long and proven track record on sustainability as both researchers and experts. But before we go in, I just want to mention a couple of events happening in Stockholm this fall. We just had our first beauty innovation talks here at the Scandinavian Mind HQ, and we're already planning for the next edition. It's going to happen on November 22nd, also here at Scandinavian Mind HQ at Grev Turegatan 30. Please subscribe to Beauty Innovations to get that invite. Visit scandinavianmind.com/beautyinnovation. Also, very exciting, we are launching our first ever event on virtual creativity. Together with our partner Link & Co, we are hosting a series of events coming off of the virtual creativity special that we had in Scandinavian Mind issue 4. This is going to be exclusive event, limited seats, happening for the first time on November 8th at the Link & Co showroom in Stockholm. Do subscribe to our newsletter to get that exclusive invite. Visit scandinavianmind.com/newsletter. Hope to see you guys there. Love doing these events and getting the feedback from our readers and our community. All right, let's get into it. Here now, my conversation with Sandra Roos and Jessica Cederberg Wodmar from the Transformation Conference in August. Enjoy. Sandra, I'm going to start with you. Many people who've been working in the industry for a long time knew you as a researcher a few years back.
I hope so.
And then you kind of made the pivot into a commercial brand. What's that been like, and kind of what did you bring with you into Kappahl when you started? Is it now 3 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So I used to be a researcher in life cycle assessment, for example. And I think I felt in a way that I have come to a point where I knew what needed to be done. And I think we all sort of know what to do, the what. And I think Mauro Scalia's presentation of the EU regulations, they really show us what is the future of textile industry going to look like. And for me to come into a company and not teaching the what to do, but actually doing it in a role in the executive management team, that's totally fantastic.
What's it been like?
It's been a learning period, of course. Like, how do we do it? I know we need a traceability tool for the supply chain to both be able to reduce our climate impact, not only in tier 1, but tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. But how do we do that in a company? And how do we use our production offices in the production countries? How is it done in practice? That's what I've been learning.
We're going to get back to some of those projects that you're running. Jessica, I want to bring you in here. Just a few, I'm curious, just a few reflections on this morning. You've heard now what's happening in the EU. You've heard from the recycling companies. You heard from tech companies want to enter the space and deliver solution to you guys who have to pay for these solutions. What's in your mind right now?
This has been a great start, really great. But there's a lot of things that we want to fit into a shirt. I mean, we want everything here to fit into this, and then we want the consumers to understand. And then I will say, because this is a fashion scene, fashion is about fun. It's about expressing yourself. And then that's also what we need to take into consideration. And regardless of me being a sustainability nerd with 33 years within this field, it's still people going to choose what they want to wear. Then they're going to look at the sustainability. There will be a few ones that really say, oh, I want sustainable product. But then sustainability is also about what is sustainable. If we can wear this shirt for the next 30 years, then that's sustainable. But then we're talking about chemicals, that is your like previous expertise and so on. So there's a lot of things here to be really taken into consideration. And sitting here with all of these fantastic tech people, I just want to say that we need to cooperate much more together. That's the key point here. We need to learn from each other. So a product developer needs to work with a IT company, otherwise you will come with solutions that we don't need. You think we need them, we will say no thank you. But it's like that, I think, is the biggest like thing. And also time. We're talking about implementation by 2025 or 2024, and we are having something in the stores right now, but we're already planning for what's coming in 2025. So when the EU comes, or the French legislation comes with 2 months in implementation period, it's not fair, to be very honest. So you need to think longevity in a broader scale. And I'm very happy with the new legislation where it will be fair for everyone. And for us being a premium brand, we can also for the first time really get points for having premium products that has a long lifetime. That's not been the case. It has been how much recycled, and the more recycled, the better it is. But in actual sense, the early stages of the recycled cotton products I got, they look like something a dog slept 8 years in the corner on. That's not GANT quality. I don't want that. So This is like, we need the industry to move together. And I think that's the key learning.
Can you talk at all about the approach that GANT has towards both the legislation, but also towards the solutions that need to be in place? Because I know both of you want to be kind of ahead of this. You don't want to be reactive and wait for it to be implemented. You're already doing research and so forth. How do you navigate this field right now?
Yeah, it's complicated, but it's not impossible. But I think the key part is nothing is sustainable and nothing is perfect. And you need to accept that. That doesn't mean that you give up. But that means that you need to find the partners that you really want to work with. You need to have both of us sit in the, oh yes, the mic doesn't work if you turn. Both of us sit in the management team. And I would say, like we talked about the CFO and all of them, they are my peers. It's not like I can't do this without them. And last week I presented the circular design, all of these abbreviations, even I can't remember them, the EPR in the management team. And of course, then I need to simplify.
Extended producer responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's 300 pages. My team read it. I read the executive summary of 30 pages. Then I have to present like 5 slides and a simple way for them to remember. And what I took away from that, and it's great that Mauro also say, it's about how you choose. Like, what do you choose to put in? And what do you have to come out? So I say from dirt to shirt and beyond. That's kind of like, and then to really always work with them all the way.
Sandra, talk about how this works within Kappahl. How do you interact with the different like design department, the financial department? Because this affects everyone, and everyone needs to be on board to be able to do some of these big changes. Can you give some insight into how it works behind the scenes?
Yeah, and I think it's so important that the top management are part of it, because they need to be good promoters in their teams and the teams below them, and down to the lower or the people who are actually doing the job. And if they don't get the instruction correctly, that in sustainability, transparency, environmental impact is equally important to price, then they will just continue thinking that we can work as we have done the last 20 years. But if it's really communicated well, that now we do not only look for price, we look for price, and we look for transparency, and we look for climate impact, and we look for good social conditions, and all that is equally important. And to be honest, I mean, we have the production offices in Bangladesh and China and India, and I think we are a bit rare there to have employees who understands that they are not only going to ask for the price. So sustainability is equally important. And we are going to onboard all our suppliers to the sustainability system now in week 46. And you know, you can't be a supplier to Kappahl if you don't provide information.
No, but that was also the before Jessica here spoke about like sustainability is like the hygiene factor. And I think that what's being put in place now is the legislation putting a hygiene factor as the lowest bar.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you can't go above that. And we have the supplier sustainability scorecard. We have the supplier sustainability excellence programs and so on and so on. But it needs to be a hygiene factor to make sure that you then on top of that can do other things. But that's also the shift here. And it's a major shift. So let's not forget that. This is also a shift when we're coming and talking about like whoever owns the data has power. And this is a power shift because the suppliers sit on the data.
Right.
For a long time, it has been the brands who have the power. Now that's changed. And that's a good thing. It's a great thing for the industry. So the suppliers are a right and left hand. We can't do anything without them. So it's time to like really like embrace that and work with the best ones. And then you will manage this and still have fantastic product. That's still the aim goal here.
Right. And how do you see the balance in terms of responsibility for, you know, the pressure is put on brands, but I'm suspecting many brands will just go to their suppliers and say, hey, we need to comply with this, and this. Will it put an unusual strain kind of upstream where I'm curious about your thoughts around this, either of you. Sandra, maybe.
You talk about buzzwords, but I think this one about from transaction to relation is describing where we are now, because we can't find new suppliers all the time that have implemented all the new technology and can deliver on. I mean, it's quality, it's transparency, it's so much that they need to sort of. That we need to go through. So the investment in onboarding a supplier is higher and higher. So it's about collaborating with suppliers that have their own driving force for sustainability, because otherwise we cannot go on and sort of check them and that they are selecting good sub-suppliers and good sub-suppliers. We have to work with companies, partners, that we develop in trust and that have their own driving force, so that they don't turn off the wastewater treatment system when no one is there checking. So it's I definitely think it's more partnership today.
Jessica, do you see the same
yeah,
way?
Definitely. But I also want to say, right now is a Klondike out there for all the IT companies and all the systems, because no one has a perfect system.
Right.
And very few of them still works together and can talk to each other. And it's still like an Excel file with pivot tables in the end of it. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I think that this is the time, again, to collaborate. The IT companies have a lot of solutions that we need, but they need to understand what our needs are. And then they can't just talk to us. We're a little blip on that, like all of the transactions that's done all through the chain. So they need to talk to the suppliers. They need to talk to the raw material producers and so on and so on. So I'm super positive for the future due to the fact that we have digitalization and we have never had more like knowledge out there. So bring it on.
But how's that working out, though? Because this is one of the pain points that I see, is that you have tech suppliers that want to get in and want to help with this, and we're going to hear digital product passport companies for the next 3 years. I'm assuming, but also on the sort of fashion side, you need people to understand and process these new technologies and sort of implement them. Yeah. How do you square that circle?
That's the thing. We are 4 people in my team.
Right.
But we're 2,500 people working with sustainability and responsibility at the company, because everybody, including the people standing in the store, and I train them. We train them with films, with seminars, with quizzes, and whatever. We do that because that's the only way. But then again, it comes back to, we also need to train the suppliers. Hence the sustainability excellence programs and so on and so on. And you need to be transparent that we're not done. We're super small, so we need the help of others. And this is, again, a great thing. Sustainability is not where we compete. I mean, we work together with all the brands. It's great. We compete with design. That's where we compete, but not with sustainability. That's where we really learn from each other. So I think it's as I say, it's Klondike, and you never know what's the gold or what's not, and what's just sand, and that's hard. And I'm not an IT expert, so yeah. I need the IT experts at my team within the whole of GANT to tell me that is the one to choose, Jessica. That's the gold. The rest is sand.
And then I really think that sustainability is a competitive area. Yeah. And for us, if we have suppliers or customers, or it's sort of you have to get a mass using the tool. It's like the Blocket in Sweden. There are different sharing platforms. But if many people, many suppliers, many customers, if they're using the same tools, that's such an advantage. So that's why we do collaborate within the sector on these IT tools, how to evaluate them, how to select them, and to see which one is applicable, and we can share data together. So, and there's communities around different
But there is also a level of detail that is sometimes almost insane. I mean, we want to know how many meters of thread it was in every single product, and how do you calculate?
Not to mention the packaging.
No, not to mention packaging, and not to mention, but again, it's like every detail and every still boils down to, when the consumer buys this shirt, what do they want to know, and what will make them choose this one? And I think for us, we need to be responsible retailers and responsible fashion. Like, that is kind of the hygiene factor, and still they will choose based on design. And then we have the longevity. How many washes? How long can this? Is this a classic shirt that you will have for the coming 30 years, and that you will hand it down to your daughter or your son and so on? That is the change. And that was also mentioned before. Those who are not focused on quality and longevity, they have a challenge. Right. Those who will have a head start. It's not easy, but it is. And I will take any head start there is, because the challenge is real.
Sandra, can you give some insight into, because I know you've been looking very closely at this digital product passport, and you talk it all about the projects that you're working on there.
Yeah, so I think David from GS1 talked about the Trace for Value project before, and then it's Kappahl and Marimekko, this Finnish brand, who are the brands participating. And we're doing a digital product passport and filling it with data together with CIS and Trust Trace, our traceability software. And to be able to do this in practice, fill all the information, like where is it coming from? The Trust Trace tool puts in some information, the PLM system, the ordering system that we have, and then to do the physical label, the actual garment care label, and how do we get that to the garment producer, so that how is the whole logistic set up, and what David also talked about, what all the information that you can relate to the digital product passport, like how can we use that for logistics, for point of sale. I mean, all this to do this in practice, it's only 2 products. They're coming in like week right. 3 or something. But to actually do this journey in practice and have produced the digital product passport.
What has been the most really challenging part of it for you doing this DPP pilot that I'm?
It's about finding a good workflow, actually. and to know what is the most convenient way to take the data, and because we don't want the data to be stored in different databases, right? Because then we have a lot of server energy and electricity for that. So how can we do this in like the most efficient and sustainable then way?
And also on that, I mean, how long did it take for you to go from idea to implementation?
We were so fortunate because we were sort of introduced to an already planned project.
Right. You piggybacked. That's fine.
Because I mean, I've been trying for the last 2 years to get a QR code on our products, and it's finally happening in 2024, and it's still like it's hard. And then I'm just at the QR code, not filling it with all the DPP, and I think on the PEF we have done 130 products now. It's really challenging due to the fact that the system isn't even set yet. The standard isn't set yet. So and then how to compare one shirt to another, that might be easy, but then how to compare a dress in man-made certified cellulosics and then in cotton, it's different. It's really, so this is where we need the other experts as well.
Right. I want to go back to this notion of EPR, extended producer responsibility, and both of you, I want to learn a little bit more about what's your approach to that? Are there specific projects, take-back programs? How do you work? How do you see the role of recycling? Jessica, you're so prepared. You're just bringing stuff, showing stuff.
That's the key part of sustainability. You need to be prepared. You need to have plan A, B, C, and you need to roll with it regardless.
All right, bring it on.
That when you're talking about this, it's important to say that you need to start from the beginning, but you also need to find the products that already work.
Mm-hmm.
And this, we're talking about extended that word.
Extended EPR responsibility, EPR.
Thank you. Yes. As I then presented last week, and I still can't remember the name. It's still about how to make the products really last for a long time. And I think that the key part of that is that you can choose. Like, do you blend fabrics? Then you have a lower score. If you don't, then you have a higher. So it's all about how it can be recycled or not. But again, it starts with something. And I wanted to do 2 checks here. How many here do work within IT? Raise your hands. Yeah, so we have a lot of IT nerds. And then I would like to say then, when we are talking about sustainability and all of these things, you need to know what is your major impacts and how to do that and so on. And then you can go to the consumers. And then we looked at our jeans and we said okay, the jeans is something that we have been doing a lot of time, over a lot of long time. Now we have lifelong repair on all our jeans. Is that then done? Done and dusted? And we can take it back in the store and we can repair it. No, it's not, because you have all the other things as well. So again, you need to know where you start, but you need something that is tangible. And that's why I have all of these products, because it boils down to products. It's not something that is fluffy. It is real things. So we also then needed to train every relevant team. And I say relevant team because who is relevant to making a pair of jeans at a fashion company? Actually, everyone is. So we trained them, but on different things. So the product creation team needed the circular design training. The buying team needed a different training, and so on and so on. And again, we're just started. So that's how we do it.
Sandra, what's best? Recycling in the textile or reusing the garment? What's the best scenario here for?
I'm glad you asked the question, because I think that we make it so wrong when we sort of put reuse, recycling, and recovery in competition. It's not a competition between those 3, it's a sequence. So first we should definitely reuse and reuse and reuse, because then we save the whole garment's production impact. And fiber recycling, that's really good as a step after you have done reuse, and maybe you can save fabric or yarn in some way. The technology is not really developed, but then fiber recycling, then we can replace new fibers. But if we can replace a whole new garment, then you have 8 times more resources reduced, right? So reuse, and then recycle, and then recover. And I think we should know that if we recycle garments and put them into new fibers, I think what Oikku said that we must find, it's not only about like preparing for recycling or making new fibers, they must be placed in a product. So they must be used. That's when you make the environmental saving of substituting a material. But when we have recycle them into a new product and you cannot recycle them anymore into a new product, then they eventually will be recovered. And then it's much better, I think, to use them for energy in like the district heating system in a civilized country than to export waste to a third or a development.
Keep it local.
But this is also,
I mean, we need to have the plan for what will happen in each step, because otherwise we will downgrade, and eventually we are so happy that we succeeded with the first cycle, and we don't think about but what will happen in the next cycle and the next cycle. And then, you have to have energy efficient processes, because if you maybe that was what you're going to say, but if we produce a new fiber from a recyclate and that costs more resources to make than the old one, then we're way off spending resources on the wrong things. So
But we are in fact talking about the EU waste hierarchy, and that has been in place for a long time.
Right.
But that's not as fun to talk about, so we call it the GANT 7 rules, and it starts with...
It's all about branding with you, right?
No, but it's about refreshing and about learning. That's what it is. It's a never stop learning thing, because it is like you want the customers to take care of the products. How do you treat a shirt for it to last 130 washes or 30 years? Or how do you take care of that? And how do you have lifelong repair? How do you sew in a button? I mean, my grandmother was a dressmaker. She taught me all of that. People nowadays have no clue. So it's good for us to have that conversation, but it is the EU waste hierarchy, and that's based on science and how you progress on that. And as a final note, I just want to say it's important to stick to science and not guess. Because if we don't have science to stand on, then it will be like whoever screamed loudest gets it, and that's not fair for anyone. And we have one planet, and there is a stress on that. And the good thing with circularity is that we can save resources and we can make our planet better for both people and for everyone living there, including like the biodiversity and also the animals. So I think we have an opportunity, and we should grasp that one.
I think that's a great note to end on. Sandra Roos, Jessica Wodmar, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. A round of applause.